Hey everyone, I have something super exciting to share with you. We have been waiting for so long, it seems. Well, we moved here in around October-ish time to California. We got our new house. This is the first house we've ever actually owned. We've always rented up until now. So I've been really chomping at the bit to get a new garden in because, you know, I had to leave my garden in Texas behind. That was really sad. So when I got here, the first thing I did was scout out the yard and think to myself, okay, what are the possibilities? And the wonderful thing about our backyard is, as you've seen in the previous videos, it was a blank slate. There's nothing out there. It's a dust bowl. So there is room for us to put in a garden. There's room for us to put in trees. But since we own the place, I'm not just gonna slap in a raised bed or dig a plot in the ground. I know that eventually we'll probably have to sell this property or at least rent it, and it needs to look aesthetically pleasing as possible to make sure that the resale value is pretty high. And if you put things in the garden that are functional but terrible looking, it doesn't sell that well. So, because people don't always understand practicality, they want to see things that are beautiful. So I wanted to show you this wall back here. This is part of my vision when we came to this house. You can see the bare dirt down here. That's my dust bowl that I was talking about with a few little weeds. And then this retaining wall is what inspired me to build the garden the way that I wanted to. So that was my vision. I based that on this because, you know, when you build an addition, let's say on your house, you want it to look like it was already there. You don't want it to stick out like a sore thumb. Same with this garden, because we may need to make sure that the resale value is great. I want it to look as aesthetically pleasing as possible and look like it's already part of the yard. It was already intended to be here. So that's what we were going for. That's why we have it where it is, the shape that it is, and I'm getting as much out of it as possible. I still want to leave plenty of yard for the kids and the dogs to run because exercise is super important as well. But we want as much gardening space as we can get, and maybe I'll squeeze in more in the future. We'll see. We'll see how much this one produces. We're building our garden, and let me show you how far we've gotten. All right, so to save money, we're doing these generic cinder blocks back here. And then we have our decorative bricks here. And doing what we can to MacGyver the corners. Hi, bud. Be careful.
Hi. How big was my face on there, Mommy?
Pretty big. All I can see were your eyes.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, no, only 9. That's very good, Mr. Cookie Face. It's really fun seeing a vision coming together. This is exactly what I had envisioned in my head to continue on our walk. Oh, focus. There we go. Our rock wall there into this garden, and we're going to slant it back down again. It's looking great. You're doing a good job, sweetie. And down here, I have a lot of cardboard recycling. Under that, you can see the gopher wire that we put down to keep those guys out of the garden, because there's a lot of them out here. And this cardboard is going to break down in some really great carbon and attract earthworms from below, but we'll be rescuing some earthworms to add to. You found what?
I found the rock.
Oh, in the whole yard?
Yeah.
Wow, what a big job. That's great. Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Watch out, Daddy's coming through. Move, please. Thank you. Sorry for the noise. There's some clearing out of brush, underbrush over there. But in here, I have all the leaves that I raked up from my front yard. I know nothing's been sprayed on this tree, so that's going to go down on the bottom. And then we got some wood chips. That's going to provide some great carbon to help compost things down along with this cardboard, because I want to encourage the native worms to come up and feel at home in my garden as well. awesome. Hey, Andrew, why is that dirt so much darker than this dirt?
Because it's good dirt.
That's right, it's good dirt. This is organic compost. This is going to help a lot of things like microbes grow that you're going to be learning about and keep our plants healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And being organic means there are no chemicals in it, which is really good. But being organic is not good enough. Mommy's going to put in a whole lot more in here to make sure that our plants get to have the food that they need so that we get the best plants ever for us to eat.
Okay.
And you are an awesome helper. Just don't get any in your eyes.
There.
Daddy's got you all set.
Oh, don't put your hand in there.
I think he's got something in his eye. Hang on.
Got it? Okay, keep those on like that now. Keep your eyes from getting anything in them. Okay?
All right, we're getting ready to start on day 3. I'm super excited for our garden. There's probably going to be some more construction noises. I don't know if you can see through there. They're building more houses. But here's where the garden is right now. I've already got some organic compost in there, so it's a great start. And we're going to be putting more in until that is completely full up to the top, as much as I can get. Because I know it's going to decrease in fullness eventually a little bit. I'm going to need to add more soil. But anyway, I want to get a really good start here. I'll do probably a second video completely based on amending the soil and getting it ready for the plants, because that is really a topic that deserves its own spotlight. But today is basically the building. And one thing I wanted to talk about before we get started is why we decided to do a garden first as our first major project, and why we're doing it in almost mid-March now. I really wanted this garden to go in excuse me, in January, so I could get a lot of the early planting in, some winter plants going, and it just didn't work out. And the reason it didn't work out is not because we didn't have the time, but because we didn't have the finances. As I've stated in previous videos, we're a military family, so our budget is set. We get what we get. You can't work overtime and get extra. So we had to, especially after purchasing our first house, we had to wait for a tax refund to get any extra income to be able to afford a big project like this. And this isn't something I decided we need to buy a garden. My words are, we need to invest in a garden, because this is going to have a huge impact on our family's health. This is going to teach our kids about gardening. This is going to give us healthy food. And I was raised this way. My mom took us to extension garden centers to learn about gardening. We had 3 raised beds in our backyard and fruit trees. So I was surrounded by gardening every single day. We were out in the yard almost every single day attending the plants, and I learned how to raise my own food. And it was really joyful. And in my mind, if I deprived that of my kids, I would be a bad mom. This is so crucial for life. If you think about it, Adam and Eve were created in a garden. And even after they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, Adam gardened. He had to till the soil and raise plants. And that's what we were created to do. There are natural endorphins when you're surrounded by nature and working in nature. So you get that benefit. You get the fresh air, and then you get the produce. And the really great thing that I'm going to address in another video with soil amendments is this garden is going to be so much better than organic. I can go to the store, I can buy organic and hopefully get it on sale so it's not the more expensive prices. But what organic is it's telling you that it's free of chemicals and poisons that you don't want in your body. And they test for about 80 contaminants. That's it. Only 80, and there are hundreds more that you can test for. But organic tests for 80 contaminants, and that's great. That's great to have clean food. But our soil is so depleted. Even in organic produce, if you test one from today and the nutrient density of one even 40 years ago, there's a vast difference because we depleted the soil, and mass farming isn't putting the nutrition back into the soil that it needs to. It's not giving the ground time to rest. None of that's happening. So what I'm going to be able to do is to put all the nutrients into my soil to make sure that the plants are absorbing it, and then when we eat the plants, we're absorbing it. So I'm getting maximum nutrition. That's why I say it's so much better than organic. And I try to tell people this concept when I'm explaining Shaklee and how they test for a lot more contaminants and how the absorption is so important, because we aren't what we eat. We're what we absorb, and people with intestinal problems understand that. We are what we absorb. So this is really, really important to me. This is why this is an investment to me. It's an investment for our health. It's an investment for their future. We live, and I was raised in the 80s and the 90s, of convenience. Everything come in a little package, a nice plastic container. You can twist the top off or peel it, and it's there for you. And this convenience has become awfully inconvenient. We've been raised to live this way, that instant food and instant gratification, and all it's doing is leading us down a path of disease. And that's not the inheritance I want to hand down to my children. Absolutely not. I want to bring them back to the way that we were originally created and have them know how to have the power over what they eat and what they put in their bodies. They can control their health and not just hope that things will turn out. And then when things don't, be part of a system that treats disease and doesn't encourage wellness and teach you how to grow in health. They just try to take care of the fire as long as possible until you die. So that's not the world I want my kids to live in. Unfortunately, that's the one I was raised in, and thank God for my parents, and I want to bless them and honor them for what they did and how they raised me, because they stepped out of the box. They did what other people were not doing, and they did it right. They did right by us the best they could. No, they weren't perfect, but when you inherit something as wealthy as that, you definitely want to pass it on. You'd be foolish not to. And people who have never had that in their lives before, there are so many channels out there that you can learn about gardening. And I hope that I encourage you with mine and what we're doing. Any questions that you have, just ask me. I'm happy to answer them, because I want to see everybody doing this. This is so good for you and so good for the future. I really got to get back to this. And it's easy and it's fun. It's so fun and rewarding. Man, this is great. So I'm going to end with that, and we're going to get to gardening and building up this garden. Today, this is going to be most of the boys' schoolwork, because this is really great education for them. And I'm excited to get started and get this as close to finished as possible so we can start planting soon. Okay, so here is our compost. And as you can see, it is so full. It's leaking out all this rich, that's goodness right there, but it's also kind of gross. And it has been full for a long time. I've just been jamming things in here, and it is so full. Ooh. Yeah. That's rabbit stuff on top, and then there's all the produce underneath, and a ton of bugs. I think I'm going to get back and wait for these guys to clear. Well, as it got full, it couldn't aerate as well, but that is still really, really well composted for the stuff on top. So I know everything down below is going to be perfect for the garden. I'm going to just slap it right in pretty deep, maybe at least 6 inches deep for the roots to go down into, because I don't want to burn the roots. And stuff that's actively composting, you don't want to be touching your plants. You want them to go seek it out if they want it. These little guys are all fueled up this morning to work. They had oatmeal with the vegan protein in it, and my famous juice, which is a combination of pineapple, orange, turmeric, carrot, and beet. Careful on that roll. Yeah, careful on that wall. All you're wearing is your undies, honey. I want you to scratch your leg again. The trials of potty training.
Don't sit on this rock.
That one's wobbly still? Mm-hmm. Show Daddy that that one's wobbly, because he said he knows how to fix it. Yeah, you gonna wear your sunglasses? Look, Mommy's wearing her sunglasses.
I'm wearing my sunglasses. I'm making it stay by holding it.
Sunglasses and healthy sunscreen. We're set to go.
Andrew. Tip. Look out, guys.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Take it
That's what you're gonna do, Andrew.
You get to make it go all the way.
All right, push it around. Are you sunbathing?
No.
No, you look like you are. Good job, Andrew. This wall's at the perfect height for you.
Digging the dirt.
Seems to be up to me to hydrate everybody. Because they forget about it.
I let go.
You let go of the hose? Yep, you did. Come get some water. Galahad, Andrew. Drink.
I'm trying to keep it. Oh no! I let go of it. I'm going to give this back.
Okay, and then you're getting a drink of water. If you can recycle things into your garden that are safe for it, absolutely do so. Like you saw the cardboard that I had on the very bottom. I'd ripped all the plastic tape off of that. And this is some really cool stuff that came. It was covering some picture frames that I ordered. And it's nice and perforated, very thin, made up of pretty much the same thing as cardboard is. So that'll be in here as well, decomposing right above the compost layer, and also give the plants a place to dig into with their roots because we have quite high winds here. So that'll hopefully help with a little bit of stability as they're getting established. We'll see. It's a new experiment, and it's fun trying things new. What a helper. Thank you.
I'm trying to turkey.
You're doing a great job.
Careful, baby. Guessing
I'll put the links to where we got everything below, but pretty much everything you see here except for the soil and of course my own food compost and paper is from Lowe's, and we don't get anything from Home Depot. I boycotted them a long time ago for the way they were treating their employees. So everything's from Lowe's and I love them. They're very patriotic, and for the most part I can get everything I need there, which is really, really handy. Pine needles from our neighbor's Christmas tree. This is where I plan on planting the tomatoes, and they like acidic soil. Thank you so much for these. Banana break, huh? Oh, someone's getting ready for a nap.
Mommy, Galahad did that.
Oh, are you tattling on your brother again?
No.
It's not very nice.
Letting you know.
Finish your banana, please.
I'm going to tattle.
Tattling means telling on somebody. When the only time I want you to be telling on somebody is if someone's going to get hurt or someone is doing something illegal. That's breaking the law. So if you know the law says to do something and someone's doing something else, then you can tell. Otherwise, you're just tattling. Hi. I love you. Seafood. Wondering why we use a cinder block on the back instead of all the same stone. That's simple. It's $3 cheaper.